Nearly 3 months ago I decided to build myself a split keyboard. The other side is over there. And I've been using it ever since and never went back to a full keyboard. But did I actually enjoy the time using this keyboard, or was it a waste of money and a waste of time trying to learn how to type on this thing? Well, let's find out. Let's first talk a little bit about typing speed, because that's probably what most of the keyboard people here are interested in. Basically, for just typing normal text, I'm still around 80 words per minute, and that is in time typing, so 30 seconds. And for short burst typing, just like 10 words typing, I can reach 100 words per minute. This is quite arbitrary, as it does not really indicate actual speed in using the keyboard or typing or proficiency in typing. So yeah, it's not a proper test to see if a keyboard is actually good or not. That's how a lot of people try to measure it. But I did notice a noticeable increase in programming especially. And that's for a very good reason. If you look at my keyboard, well, yeah, that's not going to work. Well, if you take a look at my key map, you can see that all symbols are just one layer away, and all symbols I need for programming are within reach of the home row, which makes it very easy to press them. Same as the numbers. What this basically means is that I don't need to move my right hand all around the keyboard to find the keys that I need for programming, whilst programming. I also got a mouse layer, which may not sound too convenient to use your keyboard as your mouse, but it's actually kind of convenient for me, because it allows me to not move my hands away from the keyboard whilst I want to move the mouse cursor somewhere. The only kind of annoying thing is that I don't have the kind of like bumps on the F and the J key, so moving my hands back to my keyboard is sometimes a bit tricky, as my fingers don't always end up on the correct keys, making me press wrong buttons. That's the only slightly annoying thing. But that's just because of the choice of keycaps that I made. The adjustment period for getting at a good typing speed, at my previous typing speed and programming speed, it took some time. Like, I'm not going to say that I was up and running within a week without making any mistakes. Around a week was needed to not having to guess where my keys are and to somewhat press the correct buttons. Another week was needed for typing at a somewhat decent speed. And actually a good month was needed to really get the hang of using this keyboard with the different layers and to be faster and more efficient compared to my previous keyboards. The biggest reason for this adjustment period were the layers and the fact that I don't really use the number row. I also use home row mods. Those are basically buttons. When holding a button down for a certain amount of time, you can press all the buttons and they basically turn into Control, Shift or even a layer. The biggest issue with those home row mods were basically adjusting the timing for it to be convenient enough for me without having to fiddle around. But after adjusting things for some time, I'm kind of happy with my key map at this point. I have only had to make one change to it in the last month, and that was actually a couple of days ago. And that was during one of my previous live streams, because switching to my desktops required me to press Alt and then a number, and for that I use the number row on top. The problem is, over here is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, not 10, 0. And this was causing issues because my Alt key, I don't have an Alt key on this keyboard, it's only on that. But when I have to drag things around, I need my mouse, so my right hand is not available. So what I did is this becomes Alt, so I can press these two keys with my left hand by moving my left hand to switch desktops like that, because when I'm streaming I have OBS on tab number 5, on number 4 is my Chromium tab, on number 3 is my file manager, on number 2 is my command line, and on number 1 is my Godot project. So yeah, I needed to have an Alt key on my other half as well to more efficiently use it during live streaming if I need to open more than those things. So I can open them on desktop 6, 7, 8 and 9. But that also brings me to something else that I really like about this keyboard. I can really change it to whatever I want, and it's very easy and straightforward. I don't need to run different programs on my PC to adjust key layers or write a script to adjust the key layers. I can just do it through a simple site. And because of that, I was also able to get my left half of my keyboard to be completely usable when I use the mouse, for example. If I do video editing, I can keep my left hand on my keyboard and my right hand on my mouse, and I can handle my entire video editing workflow like this. Because I can adjust the keys very easily, and I don't adjust the keys every time when I do video editing. I just set it up in a way that is convenient for daily use and for video editing. It's all possible. Even if I want to quickly change something, I can. And that's something that I kind of like. Having the freedom to easily do that without needing extra software on my PC. But next part, what would I change? Well, I'd probably try to look for 2 keycaps that have bumps on the F and J key, as that could help me out a lot whenever I move my hands, because I can never 100% find the correct position instantly. I always need like an extra try. The other thing which I would kind of change if I could redo this project is change the PCBs a little bit, so the middle finger keys, the middle finger row is a little bit high, because yeah, my middle fingers are kind of long. I don't use them that much, but yeah, they're long for some reason. But if I were to do that, I would need to edit 3 PCB designs, and I don't really know if I will be able to do that very easily. But overall, it's not too big of an issue, it's just something that would have been maybe a little bit more convenient. But other than those 2 changes, there's not really much else I will change about this keyboard. I have said it many times before, and oftentimes I start my day looking at the keyboard and I'm like this was one of the best decisions I've made so far. If I will change this keyboard, like this keyboard specifically, I will still go for the column layout and such. I like this split design, but I will probably go more towards a concave design, like a dactyl, which is more concave. I have kind of noticed I would probably prefer that over something flat. Something I also thought about changing about my keyboard was the number row. I don't tend to use it, but it does come in handy a couple of times, so yeah, I will probably not change that. That was something that I was kind of like in the beginning, like I could have saved money by not having the number row, but the more I think about it, yeah, I still kind of need it, even if it's just for switching desktops more easily. Next up, do I have any regrets? Do I have regrets of the money spent on this thing? Because yeah, it is cheaper than a normal keyboard, than just buying a pre-made one, or pre-made split keyboard, or a pre-made full keyboard. Like, it is cheaper for like a mechanical keyboard with replaceable switches, but was it worth it? Do I regret it? And my short answer to that is basically not at all. The way that I built this keyboard was quite cheap actually, like a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. And after having used it for some time, I'm kind of surprised with the quality of like the price that I paid for this thing. Also, my wrist pain, completely gone. Because with my previous keyboard, I was having wrist pain issues. And somehow it got solved. Maybe I had better posture by using this thing. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm glad my pain is gone. But overall, I'm kind of happy and quite surprised with the quality of this whole keyboard. It's been mostly fine. There have been some issues, but that was because I did not solder the PCB stuck to it. That's something I changed afterwards, soldering the PCB stuck. I was kind of hoping that the friction would keep it in place. Was not the case. And I don't really want to go back to normal keyboard at this point anymore. I am too proficient typing on this thing, especially for programming. For programming, this has been doing quite a lot. Like, it has changed my programming speed by a lot. And one of the fun things, well, good things about this, the switches are replaceable because of the design. This one was making a strange sound. Pop it out, new in, keycap back on, and it was fixed. Basically, having something that's so easily fixable, it really makes me feel very comfortable using this. But do I actually recommend for people to go out of their way and build a split keyboard? Do you need to, do I recommend you to build one for yourself? This really depends. For most people, a normal keyboard is probably more than good enough. If you are struggling with wrist pain and such, I could probably suggest it because it helps for me. But it also still depends on the person. Some people really like this kind of keyboard, other people don't. But there is a learning curve. There's definitely a learning curve, especially if you choose blank keycaps. Not the smartest decision, but a very helpful decision. I don't look at my keyboard anymore. So yeah, if you have wrist pain issues, maybe a split keyboard can help. The other type of people that I would recommend this kind of keyboard for are for programmers who often need to use the symbols on the keyboard, and if you're a programmer, you probably need to access those kind of frequently. For those type of people, I could also really recommend this type of keyboard. But again, there's a long learning curve. It will probably take around a month before you get somewhat fluent at it, and another month to actually get proficient enough at it to use it without making mistakes. But at the end of the day, it's the same like Do you need to use Linux or Windows? It's all up to personal preference, as it does take some time getting used to both things. Getting used to Linux takes time, getting used to this kind of keyboard takes time, getting used to new things always takes time. So it's really up to you. Do you think the time investment will be worth it? Do you think the money investment will be worth it? If you have any recommendations about using split keyboards for people who are maybe on the fence, please let them know in the comments below, so you can educate some people on making their decision more easy. If you want to see more keyboard videos, I will probably not make that many more keyboard videos. For the people who don't know me, I'm making video editing in Godot. If you are interested in Godot or making video editors or making projects in general, programming projects, subscribe maybe. And a big thank you to all my Ko-fi supporters. Because of my Ko-fi supporters, I was able to afford this keyboard. Thank you very much for having supported me over the past year. Yeah, I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.